Hurston famously wrote, "There are years that ask questions, and there are years that answer them." Today, I want to take you on the journey to see the answers that have been with you the entire time. Let's set the scene. You're a DJ. It's hot, humid, loud. That's evidence that you're doing an amazing job. You're on this raised platform. You look around, you see groups taking shots, jumping up and down. It even looks like there's a couple that is on their first date. You can tell because it's a gift that comes with the job. You got one earphone over your ear, listening to play the next song. The other ear is listening for the rhythm in the room. It's time to pick the next song. The pressure's on. What do we choose? Should we play a call and response type of song? But wait a minute, there's a group all the way in the back. It looks like they might be at their limit. I don't know if I want to take them up any higher. But there's another group. I want to raise their energy a little bit. How can I balance this out? Right now, their experience is in your hands. You're responsible for creating the moments and memories that they'll remember in the morning over brunch, as well as years to come. This was my experience as a DJ, where I was responsible for crowds as small as 50 up to 10,000. I called myself Chef Rocky because I wanted my guests to trust me to conduct the evening the same way you would trust a chef to deliver a delicious meal to the table without worry. Show up, let go, enjoy yourself. Creativity flowed abundantly. It was impossible to run out of songs, so every night was unique from the last. Raise your hand if you ever had a night out that you still reminisce about today. Okay. Keep your hand up if that same night had nothing to do with the drinks, the venue, or even the music, but everything to do with how you remember feeling that night. Great. You can put your hands down. But that feeling that you're remembering, that's what I was responsible for creating as a DJ. That will go on to be the invisible thread that would weave through my entire journey, but I just didn't know what to call it yet. The late nights and early mornings started to take a toll, but there was one night in particular that really changed everything. I'm in the middle of my set, and all of a sudden, a SWAT team comes through the door. It's 4 a.m. What is going on? Absolute chaos. I cut the music, watch people scatter, but this felt like a wake-up call. I didn't need to be in this environment. When the music faded that night, so did something inside of me. So I switched it up. I started doing more weddings, and one wedding per weekend turned into 2 per weekend. It was excellent cash flow, but horrible for my self-expression. Now I'm responsible for doing exactly what the bride and groom want, not what I want. So you know that thread that I mentioned? Well, right now, consider it tangled. I didn't know what I was doing. But I always wanted to do something bigger, just didn't know what. And then somewhere in the midst of this, my best friend slid a brochure in front of me for Clemson's Master of Real Estate Development program. What is this? Did she really think I could do this? Commercial real estate? This seemed way out of my league and way out of my comfort zone. But also, let's be real, I hate math. So what am I going to do with this? But remember, I always wanted to do something else. I knew I wanted to run a business. Maybe this could be it. So I took the leap, and I absolutely loved it. I learned about how buildings communicate with their environment and how they contribute to the community. So here I was, an English major who spent years learning about how stories can shape experience. But now I'm also learning that buildings can tell their own stories too. Pay attention to that. I heard a voice saying, there's something there. Pay attention. I didn't know what it was, but okay, I hear you. That's what I said. But who would have known that I would grow to love real estate development had I not given myself the chance to try it? I would have never known. This development thing merged all of my interests: creativity, community, business, and it also afforded me the quality of life that I always wanted. And I also would grow to actually appreciate math. And I even love spreadsheets now. So in the midst of this, I'm still DJing and practicing as a real estate developer. And then everything stopped. March 2020, no rooms to fill, no parties happening. Nobody needs a DJ. And where I used to be the conductor of the night, and I used to use DJing as a form of expression, I had lost that. I didn't know who I was because I had been wrapped up in DJing for so long. That was my identity. But I told myself, Racquel, you have the power to change. You can make a choice. Because I was always 1 foot out, 1 foot in, real estate, DJ, DJ, real estate. But something's got to give if I'm trying to get to the next level. So I did it. I burned the boats. I knew I had to get rid of DJing if I wanted to progress to the next thing. So I wouldn't look back. And I formally retired as a DJ, solely focusing on my real estate development firm. Again, I didn't quite know who I was at this time because I had been DJing for so long. But I realized DJing taught me something invaluable, and that was how to read a room and how to set the atmosphere. You see, most people, they enter a room and they see tables and chairs. But when I enter a room, I see who's isolated, who's comfortable. How can we ignite this space, bring it to life a little bit more? And that would actually become my superpower later on. I just didn't know it at the time. So life goes on. We continue to grow. And as an effort to stay sharp and challenge myself, I explored sobriety for 2 years. All of a sudden, I had the time and clarity to see something that I had never seen before. Just like I had the power to change the song, to change the vibe of a room, I found that changing the habit opened me up to an entirely new world. So I started spending more time in coffee shops. And I noticed that around 5 p.m., 5 or 6, they closed. And the natural transition was to go from coffee shop to a restaurant or bar. First of all, I can only eat so much. And then secondly, the bars were the very places I was trying to distance myself from then. So when the soothing music of a coffee shop came to an end and it was silent, I didn't have anywhere to go. I wasn't quite ready to go home yet. And I didn't really know how to articulate this to anybody, honestly, without feeling crazy. So I did what I do best. I did some research. And that's when I discovered third places. See, we all have home, which is our first place, and work is your second place, or school. And then there's this third place that we all go to experience community. It could be a cafe, coffee shop, church, gym, the list goes on. Wherever you go to find yourself in community, that's your third place. So I paused and I heard that voice again. Okay, this third place thing, there's something about it. Pay attention. And I did an audit of all of my favorite third places. And I realized they were all relational and not transactional. They create these moments that make you want to continue to show up and return. For example, in our backyard here in Greenville, South Carolina, there is a quaint coffee shop, Augusta 20. When you enter the space, you'll hear the barista speaking to returning guests saying, "Oh, I love when you wear that shirt," or remembering their order. Or sometimes you might see the owner walking around the floor, asking anybody if they need refills, tapping shoulders, making conversation. That interaction makes you feel like they really want you there. They want you to continue to show up. Maybe even if you don't show up, they might miss you. And I realized that's what I was creating through DJing. I was always providing space for people to feel like themselves authentically and to be able to show up. And it was also what I was trying to do in real estate. I heard this voice saying, we need more third places. Okay. What do I do with that? And I realized that would actually go on to be my invisible thread. It was the way that I showed up in this world. You see, everything that I had done, everything that moved me was all about creating space for people to connect and come alive, whether it was through music, filling a room, or through physical space, bringing communities together. It had been in my face the entire time, and I just didn't see it. So here's what I want you to understand. Your purpose, it isn't what you do. It's that invisible thread that connects everything you do. Instead of asking, what's my passion? Pause and ask, what's my invisible thread? Finding my invisible thread actually helped me realize something that never sat right with me. So my favorite book is The Alchemist, and the ending was frustrating. The main character, Santiago, goes on this journey just to find out the treasure he had been looking for the entire time was under a tree where he started. And I was just like, that's it. When I finished the book, there's nothing else. He went on this whole journey just to end up where he started. And then one day, seemingly, like a coconut falling from the tree, the answer hit me in my head. And this is where I made the connection. See, my grandma, she always used to tell me, live a little bit longer and things will make sense. And I would always think, yeah, grandma, but not right now. Like, I need the answer today. What are you really saying? But when I thought about it, what she was trying to get me to understand as well was the journey wasn't about reaching somewhere new. It was about seeing what I'd always carried with me. The journey wasn't about reaching somewhere new. It was about realizing what I always carried with me. So she was right, like she always was. As a DJ, I took a room and filled it with joy, chants, laughter, whatever you want to call it. But now, as a real estate developer, I have the pleasure of planning the space for a community to experience it the way that they want to. They feel comfortable enough to show up authentically in a room. And it took me years to realize I had always been an architect of experience, whether it was through sound or space. Your past, it isn't a series of random chapters. It's a single story being woven by your invisible thread. So trust that every experience has been preparing you for something meaningful. And again, I want to encourage you all to pause, find your invisible thread. Stop chasing careers. Start chasing that thread that makes you come alive. Think about that thing you're always critiquing or you always want to improve. That could very well be your invisible thread speaking. Find new ways to express it. And as you listen for your invisible thread, and spend time with yourself and make it make sense for you, I want you to remember this. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Cheers!